Hey everyone, today we're making Coconut Citrus Sorbet cold process soap. You can see me here checking the temperature of my oils and then checking the temperature of our lye water. Looking to do a temperature between 75 and 80 degrees due to the fact that I'll be using some coconut milk today and I don't want the lye water to scorch the coconut milk. So I just put in some sodium lactate, give it a little stir. This will help our bars harden up faster. So here I'm adding in the coconut milk to my oil mixture. I'm gonna scrape out the container as best I can. We wanna get all that coconut goodness in there. First gonna stir a little bit with my spatula here. And then we'll come in with the immersion blender and give it a good mix. We want everything incorporated. Next, we're going to add in our lye water, and I'm going to pour it down the stick of the blender to help avoid getting any bubbles in the mixture. And we'll give that a good mix. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video here so you don't have to suffer. Okay, now that everything is incorporated and mixed really well, I'm going to separate some of the soap batter into a few different containers because I'm using a few different colors today. So here I'll be adding some yellow mica mixed with some apricot kernel oil. And then to my next container, I'm going to do some green. And over here we'll do some orange. All of these micas are from a company called Mad Micas and they have amazing colors. And here we're adding some white. We'll give everything a good mix. And again, I'll just speed up the video for everybody so you don't have to sit through all this stirring. Kind of a fun fact about this yellow that we added in, it's going to change from yellow to orange, and then once the soap sits overnight, tomorrow it will be yellow again. So that's kind of cool. So here I'm adding our fragrance oil and it's from Brambleberry. It's called Coconut Citrus Sorbet and it smells amazing. I really love this fragrance. I'm just going to add a little bit to each color that we have. Really no need to measure here. It's all going to be in the same mold. And we'll mix in that fragrance really well. And we'll speed it up again. So my original plan for this soap design was to do a drop swirl. I was going to do all of the white on the bottom and then drop in those other three colors. But here I'm noticing my batter is pretty thick, so I knew in my head I'm going to have to switch up the plan. So I'm just going to scrape out all of that white soap batter into our mold because we want it all on the bottom. Okay, so we're just going to give that a few taps on the counter to get any air bubbles out. And we'll start adding our other colors in. And it's really thick. As you can see, it will barely pour out of the container. So I'm just kind of plopping it in. And here I'm starting to think in my head, what the heck is this going to look like when I cut it? I need to do something else with it. So I'm going to add the other color, which this was the yellow, and now it's kind of an orangey color. And remember how I said earlier, the yellow turns to orange and it will turn back to yellow. And now we'll add some green. Okay, so after the green, we're gonna do another tap tap on the counter, remove any air bubbles, and then I'm gonna come in here with a skewer and just kind of give it a little swirl on the inside to help maybe try and make this design kind of cute. So I'm going to start adding the rest of the color. So we've got our orange, get that in the mold, scrape out the container. Now we have our yellow, same thing, get it all in there, scrape it out. And the green, just plopping it in the mold. Just want to get it in the mold at this point. Another tap for air bubbles and another little swirl. And now for the top, I figured since the batter is super thick, I'll be able to do some texturing with the top. So I'm just going to add the rest of the batter in lines. So I've got the yellow here. And then we'll do the orange. And last but not least, we've got our green down the center. And we'll give that one final tap tap on the counter. I'm going to come in here and just do a little texturing with a spoon. Up one side, down the other side. And then we'll come down the middle. Just making it look kind of cute. Spray it with some alcohol to help try and avoid any soda ash. And here she is. We're going to put this baby to sleep for 24 hours and we'll cut it tomorrow. So we're going to unmold our soap today. It's been 24 hours. We left it covered all night long. I checked on it a couple times just because this was the first time I worked with coconut milk in a soap, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't creating a volcano effect or splitting in any way. But it looks great. I'm really happy with it. We're going to go ahead and cut into bars. I like to cut my bars at 1 1/8 inches because as the soap sits on the shelves for the next 6 weeks, it will lose water and it will shrink a little bit. So it'll shrink down to about 1 inch in size. So here's our first bar. It looks great. You can see kind of some swirls in there. I think someday I'd like to invest in a multi-bar cutter. So if you guys know of any good ones, please leave that in the comments below so I can check them out. Okay, one last time speeding up the video here. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video of the making of Coconut Citrus Sorbet cold process soap. I know I had a great time making it and experimenting with coconut milk. I can't wait to try this bar out when it's ready in 4 to 6 weeks. They'll be posted in my Etsy shop in about 4 weeks, so be on the lookout. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.